All right, good afternoon. The meeting of the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners is called to order. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners was provided in the following manner. Published in the Press of Atlantic City and mailed to the Hamilton Gazette, and has been posted on the bulletin boards in the county office building in Atlantic City, the Stillwater building in Northfield, and the county clerk's office in Mays Landing. An opening prayer.
Lead us, O God, that we may be leaders of our community and continue to guide us in the decisions we make for the service of others. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Chairman Commissioner Corsi is attending virtually today.
All right, thank you.
Bertino,
Here.
Burns. Here. Corsi. Gatto,
Here.
Kern,
Here.
Parker,
Present.
Risley,
Here.
Ruffio.
Here.
Days.
Here. Commissioners have had the opportunity to review the minutes from March 25th, 2025. I will entertain a motion to adopt the March 25th minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call the roll.
Bertino,
Abstain.
Burns,
Yes.
Corsi, Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio.
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Anyone attending in person who would like to speak regarding an agenda item or at public comment, please come to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your name and the town where you reside. You'll be provided up to 3 minutes to speak. If you are attending virtually and like to speak, please raise your hand during the agenda item or a public comment at the end. I will call upon your name and a request to unmute will be sent. Please state your name and the town you reside. You will be provided up to 3 minutes to speak. And at this time, we'd like to recognize National Crime Victims' Rights Week in Atlantic County. First, is there a motion to move Resolution 211 to the top?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any opposed? Sounds good. All right, at this time, Chief Counsel John Flammer. Tara, would you like to read the resolution?
Want me to read the title?
Read the title.
Resolution declaring the week of April 6th to April 12th, 2025 as National Crime Victims' Rights Week in Atlantic County and recognizing and supporting assistance to victims of crime. Sponsor Maureen Kern.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call. We can do the whole thing. All right, any commissioner comments at this time?
Well, I just want to thank you, number one, for being here. So a National Crime Victims' Rights Week is April 6th to the 12th. And since 1981, National Crime Victims Week has challenged the nation and municipalities to confront and remove barriers to achieving justice for all victims of crime. There's, I've noticed a number of sites there are out there that have great resource guides. And they have an array of outreach tools and materials, and it's NCVRW if anybody goes in, because, you know, it is very, very important, you know, and what you do for the community is very much appreciated because you're always out there, you know, looking after the victims.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Any other commissioner comments? Anyone from the public?
Madam Vice Chair, do you want to read the last whereas in the resolution to highlight the April 9th event?
Sure. Okay, where it's to commemorate National Crime Victim Rights Week, April 6th to the 12th, 2025. In Atlantic County, a ceremony will take place to recognize victim survivors for their continued work in the community and their resiliency. On April 9th, the virtual workshop prevented by Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey will take place, providing education to the law enforcement community regarding the different types of brain injury and how it intersects with various victimizations.
Thank you. Anyone from the public? All right, Chief.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, staff, and all those present here in the room and virtually. My name is John Flammer. I am Chief Counsel to Atlantic County Prosecutor William Reynolds. I'm here on behalf of Prosecutor Reynolds, along with Trish Hayek, who is Director of our Victim Service Unit, Deputy Chief of County Detectives, Matthew Paley, Christy Gardner, who is one of our most dedicated victim witness advocates in the office, and also Rich Cornett, who is our community outreach person. I'm speaking on behalf of the entire team at the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office. We truly thank you for this resolution recognizing National Crime Victims' Rights Week. A majority of my 20-year plus career in the office, I've been a special victims prosecutor. Throughout that time, I can assure you and the residents of this county that everyone in our office is wholly dedicated to the pursuit of justice for all crime victims. If I may take a few minutes to tell you about two families. In 2014, a man who will remain nameless utterly devastated the Pabst and Heist family of Egg Harbor City. His crime sent shockwaves throughout that town and our county. That one person brutally killed Michelle Pabst and her 7-year-old son, Gavin, in the most utterly inhumane manner possible. The senselessness, cruelty, and brutality they suffered at his hands was devastating. For the first responders, law enforcement tasked to investigate the case, our victim witness advocates to offer some measure of comfort to the family, and myself assigned to prosecute the case, the effects were profound. This was one of those cases that stays with you forever. But the impact on us, professionals tasked with seeking justice for crime victims and their families, and our victim advocates to provide some measure of comfort, paled in comparison to the heartache, crushing loss, and shattering impact felt and lived by the friends and family of Michelle and Gavin. Throughout the investigation, prosecution, and sentencing of the perpetrator, the Pabst family, their friends, and the Egg Harbor City community rallied to their support. They stood strong for each other and in memory of Michelle and Gavin. On Friday, April 11th, the Pabst family will be recognized by our office as we close this year's National Crime Victims' Rights Week. It goes without saying that no family would ever want such recognition, but it is equally true that this family has displayed such remarkable strength and resiliency when faced with such an unimaginable situation. Again, on behalf of Prosecutor Reynolds and our entire team, we thank you. It is support such as this that helps us pursue justice and healing for our victim survivors, their families, and all those impacted by crime. It is support such as this that provide comfort for all victim survivors to know that they are never alone. They will always be remembered. And in particular, with respect to Michelle and Gavin Pabst, they will never be forgotten. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief Counsel and Trish and Christy for all you and your office does for not only for the victims but for the Atlantic County to know that, as you said, that they are not alone. And you know, it's I can't imagine, but it's sure it's difficult enough to deal with the grieving process, but to have to go through all the legal ramifications of the crime as well. I can't imagine what that would be like if not for your office. So once again, thank you so much for everything that you do. I think we need to take the roll call, and I think we have a presentation for you as well then. So Tara, the roll call, please, at this time.
Bertino?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Coursey? Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Grizzly?
Yes.
Ruffio?
Yes.
Dees?
Yes. Yes, do it right up. If you guys want to come up.
All right, we're getting ready to go back behind.
Okay. We got this.
Wait, come on. Yeah. Where am I looking? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Updated on that.
All right. At this time, we'll have a presentation, the Renaissance Theater Field Project by Dan Gallagher, Sonny McCullough, and the Deem Enterprises.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today to tell you about a fabulous development, Renaissance at Vader Field. But before I introduce the two principals, I would like to say I was hoping that County Executive Dennis Levinson would be here today, but he has indicated to me full support for Renaissance at Vader Field and the financial benefits it will bring to Atlantic County. He sent me a text this morning saying I can pass that on to you commissioners. I'd also like to mention that we had two meetings specifically to discuss the Renaissance at Vader Field with Jack Ciccarelli, who, me personally, hope he'll be the next governor. And he has indicated to me full support for the Renaissance at Vader Field, and has also indicated that when it is passed, that he will make sure that this process is moved a lot faster than previously. So with that said, I would ask the commissioners at the conclusion of the presentation, if you are in support and if you think this project is worthwhile, if you would not pass a resolution in support of the Renaissance at Vader Field. That said, I'd like to introduce the two principals. First, Mike Bender, who will explain all the details of the project, the physical details. And at his conclusion, Dan Gallagher, who is an attorney who practices in tax and finance. So with that said, I would like to ask Mike Bender to come forward.
Great. Okay, well, I'm sure you guys don't want to be here until next Thursday. I personally, with my partner Dan Gallagher, have worked on this project for about 8.5 years. Really nothing like it in the world. Much has been written about it. I would say 95% of it has been inaccurate. What it is a comprehensive project that we believe is going to be the catalyst for the redevelopment of all of Atlantic City and the surrounding counties. The project itself has about 1,700 residences of different types. It does have a motor course. One of the main concerns has always been about how much noise is it going to create. Well, the track itself is in basically a bowl, and we've done extensive noise studies throughout the neighborhoods. The largest amount of noise that we've recorded with our testing has been about 50 decibels. Put it in context, Albany Avenue is got about 90 decibels. It'll generate less noise than Albany. We intend to bring in 2.5 million cubic yards of soil to create essentially at the low end of Bader Field about a 7-foot rise above the existing grade. To the northwestern end, about 35 feet. In essence, it's a road course with rolling topography. The other components of the project include a museum, they include a marina, they include 2 high-rise buildings on the north east corner. They have about 450,000 square feet of retail that's open to the public, 2 parking garages. And it's a comprehensive project. There are over 300 professionals that have been working on this, some since the inception. Give you an example, there's over 40 engineers because Bader Field, as you guys know, is a brownfield. And because it's a brownfield, there's certain criterion that has to be established to in order to remediate it and certainly build upon it. We know every inch of Bader Field. Been fortunate to have local engineers and international engineers help us with our strategies. So we've done extensive testing. We know where the PFAS is. We know how to remediate it. We know where the other contaminants are from when it was an airport. And we believe that we're at the final stages of our lengthy state approval process. It's taken years, almost 5 years. But we're at the tail end of the Green Acres provisions that are really the last, what I would call, not obstacle, but last hurdle for us to manage prior to settling on the property. Dan, my partner, will talk about financial support we've got, and it's international. The opportunity that this is going to bring in terms of tax release for the city and the residual benefits. So I can answer any question. I sleep with this project every night. Unfortunately, my wife gets mad at me for that. But any questions you might have, I'm more than happy to answer.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Getta?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but can you even just take like 10,000 steps back for the sake of a public who
Sure.
may not have ever heard about this project and talk about what is it? Maybe go through some of the slides too. I know you highlighted kind of different elements and dove right in.
No,
but
I don't have a clicker for the,
I mean, you can tell our.
oh,
our
okay.
in the clip. Yeah.
Happy to. I thought I had to do this freehand.
No, that we want the public to be as educated as possible.
Absolutely.
so.
I think it's great. Go to the next one, sure. We can keep going till you get some. That's what Bader Field, let's go back. That's what Bader Field looks like today. It's 143 acres. There's an abandoned baseball stadium. There's an abandoned skate zone, and there's a firehouse that is slated for relocation currently on the site. It's the first airport in the U.S. In fact, the term airport was coined because of Bader Field. And it's one of the largest pieces of undeveloped coastal land on the Atlantic seaboard. Okay, we go to just some of the transportation components. Atlantic City is easy and not easy to get to. You can get to it on the Garden State Parkway from the northern parts of the state. You can get to it from Philadelphia from the Atlantic City Expressway. I think there's one train a day that runs from 30th Street Station. And there's very limited service at the airport, all of which we intend to augment. please. The employment and economic diversity, we believe in the concept of you give a man a fish he eats for the day. If you teach him how to fish, he eats forever. We have very extensive educational programs that are going to couple with this development. And they're broken out into a whole array of different professional areas. There's a huge push for what we're doing with sustainability. There's a hydrogen microgrid that'll be here. It'll be the first of this scope in the nation. It'll couple with natural gas initially, and then eventually move to 100% hydrogen. Beauty of that is that the byproduct of hydrogen is water. But from an emission standpoint, we're going to be doing something that's not done anywhere else in the country as yet. We're also going to have about 8,000 geothermal wells. Geothermal wells are basically, it's a district energy system. What it does, it keeps the costs of heating and cooling down appreciably. There'll be about 12.7 megawatts of solar generated here, 2.5 weeks of battery storage. So if the city goes off the grid, they can use this development as a hub for emergency services. Go ahead. I was talking about the education training. There'll be thousands of opportunities for various educational endeavors, whether it's in the automotive realm or it's in the sustainability realm. There is no development like this in the country features sustainability to this level. The diversity is that we'll be bringing in experts from various trades. In the automotive business themselves, they're going to want to be part of this development because of the positive notoriety it's going to bring. Okay. We have 406 affordable housing and workforce units. They'll be part of the development. They'll essentially face Albany Avenue, which you see a rendering of what that would look like. Dan will talk about the city revenue and the implications for property taxes. And he'll also talk about the number of jobs. I can tell you it'll be well over 2,000 construction jobs and well over 1,500 permanent jobs throughout this development. The technology is really something that we have focused on. We're quite proud of the fact that we're building these units out of a material called FRP systems. They're essentially indestructible building envelopes. They've been rated to 190 mile an hour wind loads, 250 mile an hour impact. The beauty of them too is that they have spent 16 years in codification at the Miami-Dade testing institutes before they were certified for construction. You know, you see it happening in Florida and many other coastal regions where the communities are literally blowing apart in hurricanes and high winds. These units will be a testament to resiliency. Yeah, I spoke about we're moving toward LEED Platinum in the construction certification. That's as high as it gets in the construction industry. We're also moving toward zero carbon. And when you think of a motorsport community, you think of cars with emissions. We'll balance those emissions out by the lack of emissions in the other technologies. So our goal is to get to zero carbon. And again, it's unlike any other development that's currently underway in the US. This is what I talked about, the smart grid, the hydrogen microgrid. We'll be combining it again with natural gas initially, where it'll create what's called gray hydrogen. We'll move to blue hydrogen and then ultimately to green hydrogen, where the emission is water. This is some of the slides relative to that. Again, it's the same. Okay. We have the course metrics. The course is designed by one of the most famous course designers in the world, a guy named Bob Bernard. He's lives in Spain, the cantankerous Englishman. This is really his crown jewel. He's came out of retirement to do this. He's done a lot of Formula One tracks and been a consultant for Formula One in terms of safety. And I want to make clear, this is not a Formula One racetrack. It's built to Formula One specifications, which is all about safety. You know, when we first came out, we were supposed to be running a 24/7 NASCAR track here. I mean, there was a lot of miscommunication that happened, and we've had and been very successful at getting the record straight relative to what we were building. This is a community. Okay. I touched on the safety aspect of it, the noise abatement. No one gets on this course. They don't drive off the street and get on this course. You're either a member or you go through a certification, and that certification includes blood tests, immediate. So if you've had a drink or you've had some other substance the night before, you can't drive. You know, the worst thing that can happen for us is to have, you know, an array of accidents by people that are not fit to be on the track. And we are absolutely driven, hate to use that term, but absolutely driven for safety. The noise abatement, we've had noise monitors in all the adjacent neighborhoods. We know how much noise we're going to generate. We also know how much noise currently exists. That's kind of a, I think you have that in your slide. That's, you know, the site plan. What I would tell you is the interesting thing about the motor course world is that the people that have these cars or have collectible cars look at them as three-dimensional pieces of art, much like if you had a Picasso in your house. And they live with their cars. It's like it's man caves, but it's a lot more involved than that. Very elegant residences. So here's just an example of some of the what they would look like. But again, these will be certainly augmented as we go down the path. We've done extensive due diligence. We have nearly 7,000 pages of studies that are in our data room, and you're all welcome to go in there if you have a few spare weeks you want to go through the data. But everything we're doing is supported by empirical data, every assumption we have. This is just some of the residential mid-rises are along the intercoastals. They'll basically, the back of the units will face the track, the front of the units will face the intercoastals. We also have essentially an amphitheater that would be the outside, primarily for what you guys would think of in terms of TED Talks, where it would be the latest technology that comes into you know, our world. We'll be sharing it. It's not meant to compete with the casinos where they have entertainment. It's really meant to have technology transfers and people understanding, what's coming. What people don't realize is that the electric car is going to be a blip in the radar, we believe. The next great technology is the hydrogen fuel cell. And I've been in hydrogen fuel cell cars in California, where I went maybe 100 miles. And at the end of the trip, the guy had a mason jar at the back of the car and it was full of water and he drank it. And I said, this is the way to go. The problem with electricity is it's great for right now, but I think it's a stopgap. And, with some of the stuff we've been hearing, it's very hard to put out if there's a fire, and there's a whole array of other issues with it. So, and then the retail is going to it'll be open to the public. It'll be featuring a lot of events. There'll be things here that are going to that will attract the public, where the public will be gathering here. There will be events within the context of the retail, as well as the other areas that are open to the public. The track itself, because of safety and because of the value of these cars, which could exceed several $1 billion, is wholly private. We're very cognizant, and we were cognizant before we were told to be cognizant about nature and about respecting the Green Acres provisions and keeping a lot of, this is all public land here, where there'll be around Bader Field will be essentially a boardwalk and softened wetlands, and it'll really be like a nature trail, as well as a boat ramp. And we're planning on doing some traversing from a centralized place here over to maybe Ducktown or to the other islands. As I said earlier, we believe this is going to be the catalyst for the redevelopment. And we don't say that lightly. We have literally dozens of people that contact us that want to develop here, but they're waiting for our development because it'll get rid of the negativity that's surrounding Atlantic City in particular. You can keep going. These are just some of the other things. We intend to landscape this. We're using a local landscape architect of some renown, Jay Adamson. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's very, very good. We want to make this a showpiece. And then we have a museum. And I've been in contact with the Simeone Museum in Philadelphia. These are some of the cars from the Simeone Museum, but we anticipate having a lot of events where the cars are actually part of a traveling show, and where people can come in, they can see more or less the history of the automobile. And we think this is going to create a tremendous amount of interest and also an opportunity for education. Education to us is very, very important. We have on our team 8 educators of renown that have been contributing to our project. And that's that's what I was trying to say at the beginning.
Just about it.
I didn't know how much time I had.
No, I appreciate that. Commissioner Gatto, was it?
Good. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Bertino?
That answer was
That
looking
was-
more detailed
Yeah.
stuff, just to make sure we don't, for the public, there's some that haven't heard about it, because it's a complicated, intense project.
Mhm.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, Commissioner Parker.
in your packet, it mentions that there's going to be some affordable housing, 12 units for 15 years, I believe that is.
No, there's 406 units, affordable housing and workforce.
How many are going to be affordable housing?
406.
406 are going to be affordable housing?
No, there's 406 total. I think affordable is about 200 of the 406. I can get you that exact number.
That's okay. And you say there, in there it says 37K to 79,000 per household family income?
Whatever the mandate is for affordable housing. Our architects have assembled that for us.
How do you envision that working with high-end luxury residential mixed in with affordable housing?
It's not really mixed in. It's not part of the internal automobile club. The people that are going to be in the automobile club are going to be very wealthy people. They're going to be they'll be entertainers, sports stars.
Which was my next question. You
Yeah.
already identified your customers, I'm imagining.
Yeah.
And where they're coming from?
Well, give you an example. Floyd Mayweather called my partner about a year ago. He's got 150 cars. He said, I want to buy 5. Well, that's great. Wait till I own the land. So we're going to have a lot of that. But, there's so much here for everybody. But the development itself is actually run by what's called a NOC. You guys familiar with that terminology at all? The Network Operating Center. So there's a centralized brain. You'll call the NOC and you'll say, I want my condominium at 72 degrees. I want the lights on. I want these staples delivered, so it's very high-end concierge. So, but again, the retail, the affordable, the workforce, the other amenities that are associated with, they're all public access.
How many cars on the track at one time?
It depends. Do you play golf at all?
Badly, very
Okay.
poorly.
Well, you would not, if you played golf,
Sonny
you
can
would,
tell you all about it. I lose more balls than I maintain.
well, if you played golf and you were a lousy player, like you say you are, you would not tee off at Atlantic City Country Club at 9 a.m. You would wait until probably 1 so you could tee off with contemporaries. I say this because I was a golf pro at one time. So at the end of the day, there'll be certain skill levels that'll have certain times. And the crazy thing here that people don't realize is that the time on the track is only 25 minutes. That's it. That's how long the people drive their cars, because it's work. Plus about 85% of the cars that will be stored here will stay here, which ensures people are going to keep coming back and coming back and coming back. And go ahead.
Which brings my other question, security.
28, we have a head count of 28. The former head of the New Jersey FBI is the head of our security. A guy named Jim Diorio. I don't know if you guys know Jim.
Last question I will ask. Educational piece. As an educator, I'm always interested. Now, I've read a lot about this inclusiveness and educational pieces. How does that look? Like, how does that work? Are you going to the local superintendents or ACIT, possibly our
Yeah, I was an educator too, so I
right.
understand your question.
Mhm.
What we want to do is get these kids early, embedded in the natural love for the automobile. Everybody loves their cars, for some reason, and get them early enough where they can go through the promise and be associated with people actually working on these vehicles and the different components of the job descriptions. It's interesting. A mechanic for one of these high performance cars is going to make $350,000 to $400,000 a year.
Hopefully they'll be a graduate of one of our county schools.
The county schools are going to be part of this, as are all the engineering colleges we've talked to. Everybody wants to participate in this thing because of the residual benefits of it. And it's going to impact on everybody.
Well, I noticed that a lot said Atlantic City based, and I understand that the importance of that. But of course, we as a board are concerned about Atlantic County. So in terms of contractors in terms of, I know there's a piece of that that's going to go towards union labor. And that speaks for itself, and I won't talk about that. So I'm going to speak about the non-union labor that's going to be used for contractors. Is there anything that's going to, I don't know, maybe look out to Atlantic County contractors first, local contractors first?
Absolutely. Our construction managers they ran the second largest construction company in the world. It's called Skanska. And they're very cognizant beyond the PLA that we're going to put in place, very cognizant about keeping the work here, not only in Atlantic City, but also in the surrounding areas.
That's what I wanted to hear.
It's what we've been saying. No one's listening.
I'm listening now.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Mr.
all I
Parker,
had.
Mr. Brenner, thank you. Commissioner Risley.
Just a couple quick thoughts. I'm curious, what do you estimate the total investment required to do this project?
That's it.
What would you estimate?
Honest to God, about 3.4 billion.
It was big.
It's big,
It's huge. It's
but
colossal.
we start to cash flow pretty significantly in 2028. Now, what you don't realize is that the way the model tracks for these other clubs that are in certain areas of the world, most of this stuff gets pre-sold. So you're selling condominiums, you're selling initiations, you're selling memberships.
Right.
You can't use the condominium money to pay down debt service unless it's coming from your international clientele. And we anticipate pretty significant international clientele, which is going to be good for the airport, it's going to be good for the casino industry, it's going to be good for the economy.
Any thoughts on the redesign of the ingress and egress there?
We kept it to where the
It's a big.
we were tied in with the main artery, Porter and the different streets there.
Okay.
So yeah, there is some. Are you talking about on Albany Avenue itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, there absolutely. We got to go through
Yeah.
pretty extensive studies with DOT.
And the last item, no ice hockey, I guess?
No.
I say that
No.
only because we lose the ice hockey stadium.
You lost that a few years ago. So.
Still there.
But we are building as part of our deal. I don't know if you guys are aware. We're building a $15 million community center. So that may have an ice hockey or roller skating component. We want to keep the kids off the street. We want to find ways to get them involved. That's how you solve any kind of crime problem.
Right.
So,
Ice hockey, good sport.
well, hey, I was a teacher in Philadelphia when I first got out of college. And I'll tell you, I almost wanted to go to Vietnam. It was that tough.
Thanks.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, Mr.
Thank you
Gallagher.
very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'll be brief. I think Mike touched on it. Some of the things I wanted to touch on is before we started this project, one of the first things we did was sign a project labor agreement. We have full support of all the unions. My older brother's a electrician, my younger one's a carpenter, so I don't have a lot of choice because they're both bigger than me.
Right.
And Mike talked about the building materials, and I'll be brief on that. If you want to see what it looks like, I'm building a house in between Annapolis and Ridgeway Avenue in Atlantic City. It's built out of these materials. Last week was the builders, I guess, the organization had a meeting in Atlantic City, and they all came to see what I was building out of. Feel free to go by it. It's unbelievable. And we talked about the education, putting these systems together. I had my builders go down to Florida to learn how to build it because this will be the first house on the East Coast built like that. I can tell you right now, I'm not buying insurance. No reason to buy it. My house is flood-proof, hurricane-proof. It's really unbelievable. And every builder who's going through there said the same thing. They couldn't believe it. What Mike didn't mention is when this project happens, not if. When it happens, the builder of these materials, who has a patent on it, will be opening a manufacturing
plant in Atlantic City. We've already identified a site, a couple hundred jobs that'll be added. There a big ownership interest in that business is through Owens Corning. So Owens Corning is a pretty decent company last time I checked. So we have a lot of support. Our financials, like Mike said, we have a data room with over 6,000 pages of information, and we've gone Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. We've had every house go through it, and no one's questioned our financial projections. I'm not a car enthusiast myself, so I was one of the toughest people to convince. And when I had some people calling me up when this first came out, like Boxer Mike mentioned, it kind of, the light went off in my head. Because these guys don't have one exotic car, they have like 100. And there's more than them than you think. And I realized the car enthusiasts were that crazy about spending money on their cars, but they are. Now, what I'm really here to talk about is what this does to Atlantic City and the county financially. Real brief history. As you know, Atlantic City was not in a good financial position in 2014 via tax appeals from the casinos. Almost bankrupt the city. I don't want to say who appointed the attorneys who represented the city, but you can only guess from who was in charge of the state. These attorneys got crushed, and the city was faced with issuing junk bonds. And I had a chance to pull the junk bonds, take a look at them. Let's just say that they weren't the best thing in the world for the city, and because they're junk bonds that can't be retired, myself and Kenny Moore set a few weeks to go over to figure out how to fix the tax problem in Atlantic City, because that's the real problem. There's a ton of people who want to, believe it or not, want to move back into Atlantic City. According to Zillow, it's one of the hottest real estate markets in the country. Not only one of the hottest, it's a few points above the next lowest, like 3 or 4 points. And that's not Dan Gallagher, that's Zillow. The only thing I believe that's holding it back is the tax rate in the city. And the tax rate necessarily is part of those junk bonds and the junk bond payments and the interest. We came up with a mechanism to take the purchase price of Bader Field and to apply part of that purchase price towards the junk bond payments. We believe on the local tax rate, not believe, we know that this year the tax rate in Atlantic City may go down by a third. By 2028, it's the lowest tax rate in the county. And we believe, not even we believe, I know that there are other projects, because I represent the people who are waiting for that to happen to come into the city. And when that happens, we haven't even gone over what that does to the county, because, you know, there's new ratables in the city, improve the county ratables. So it, not only are we creating jobs and a new market and a new industry in Atlantic City, look what we're doing to the tax rate.
Local jobs.
Local jobs. Local jobs.
Local jobs.
And, I've been through the highs and lows of the city, and I know that Mark can tell you, they you know, people have come in here and said, well, we're going to give local jobs, we're going to give local jobs, and then all of a sudden you see
That's right.
parking lot filled with Pennsylvania license plates, and I've seen it. So that's one thing that I've pledged will not happen. So we got the tax rate and it's what it's going to do for the county. But when you bring in those ratables, our projections are just based off of what our ratable is going to bring to the city. Now, one thing someone asked me about is a pilot program. We're not doing a pilot program. We said, put it on the books for 175 million. It's assessed at 100 million right now, or we're buying it for 100 million. It's assessed at lower than that. We said, put it on the books for that. And part of our tax relief program is based off the assessment, getting added assessments and moving forward as we go forward. So we're putting our money where our mouth is in a lot of different ways that other people haven't done. So I know that the pilot program's been a big issue, but you may want to revisit that. Just saying. Anyway, we believe and we know what the tax rate and what's going to happen in Atlantic City. I'm really super excited about it because I really think that when these other projects come in, and they're right behind me, when they come in, my projections with regard to the tax rates are going to get even better. So that they're really ultra conservative. And believe it or not, the investors that we brought in, people who have looked at the project, that's one of the first things they ask about. And when we show them how it works, it makes them more interested. Anybody have any questions? I know everybody likes talking about taxes, so. All right, thank you very much for having us here today.
If in the future, any of us have any more questions, is there someone directly we should contact?
Contact me. My office is Chelsea Heights in Atlantic City.
So I have a quick question. to the
Sure.
Chairman.
Yeah.
At what process are you in right now with the city of Atlantic City?
The city of Atlantic City, we got to go through the state. We went from a memorandum of understanding to a redevelopment agreement.
Okay.
We can cut the check for the city tomorrow if we get the redevelopment agreement.
So the city's ready to move forward once you
The
have
city's
all the
re-
city
Yeah.
state approvals.
Yeah, we had some issue with regard to Green Acres. That's been satisfied. It's actually been, if you look at the drawings, that walkway or promenade around the outer part of Bader Field is really, really nice. And it's way better used for the open public space than exists there right now.
Right. Oh, I'm sure.
But if this is the goal line, we're right here,
Right. So you're just waiting from the
Right.
state.
right? We want to start as soon as possible.
And your approvals, I assume, is going to be DCA for Atlantic City. You're dealing with DCA.
Yes.
So the state's going to approve it, then the state's going to approve it. The state's going to approve it.
Well, and it's not just the DCA, it's the DEP, the DOT,
Right.
the BPU.
But we're dealing with the state of New Jersey.
Yeah,
on both
absolutely.
ends.
Just, and as an aside, Mike talked about, we've put a lot of money into due diligence on the project. I mean, we've done the environmentals, we know how to clean it up, where to clean it up. And a ton of money and time has gone into it, and we're excited about moving forward, and the sooner the better.
Any other commissioner questions, comments? Mr. Binder, Mr. Gallagher, I appreciate you coming to do the presentation.
Thank you for letting us make the presentation.
Great. Like you said, there's a lot of information out there, but it was great for us to have, to see it firsthand and to hear from you firsthand as well. So
Great.
appreciate that. Thank you.
And again, anybody has any questions, feel free to call.
Absolutely.
Everybody else does.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you again. Again, if you guys want to take off and head on out of here, feel free. I don't think you'll offend anybody here.
Are you saying our meeting's not going to be interesting?
As interesting as the 600 pages of data in their data center.
All right, moving on to the agenda items. Resolution 192.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development for the Summer Youth Employment Program, amount not to exceed $1,123,500.
Move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments?
Okay.
Commissioner Risley.
Thank you. Just want to mention that we did have a budget meeting and all the financial items on the agenda were reviewed by the Budget Committee, and we recommend approval, of course. And this particular resolution we're looking at is our workforce board to employ over 275 youths for the summer. So we certainly want to provide that program. It's an 8-week program. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments? Anyone from the public? All right, please call the roll.
Bertino,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Coursey, Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio,
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 193.
Grant acceptance from the New Jersey Department of Corrections for the County Reentry Coordinators Program, amount not to exceed $100,000.
Move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Any comments from the public? All right, please call the roll. Oh, Commissioner Coursey, was that?
Yeah, I've been trying to get in to have a comment, question. I must have been disconnected some kind of way before the developers left, but we can move the
Oh.
agenda.
Okay. What's the?
Bertino,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio,
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 194.
Professional services agreement with Z Radar Limited Liability Company doing business as Reimbursement Reimagined to provide minimum data set support services to Meadowview Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, amount not to exceed $130,000.
Move. Second.
Move.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments?
Briefly, Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Risley.
just want to mention this was one of the recommendations in that report that we had, do an economic analysis of our Meadowview nursing home. So we're enacting this. Thank you.
All right. Any other commissioner comments? Any comments from the public? Please call the roll.
Bertino,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio,
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 195.
Professional services agreement to establish a 2025-2026 appraisal services pool, amount not to exceed $135,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Any comments from the public? All right, please call the roll.
Bertino,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio,
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 196.
Professional services agreement with SCS Engineers to update the Atlantic County Solid Waste Management Plan, amount not to exceed $74,900.
Move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Any comments from the public? All right, please call the roll. Oops.
Mr. Chair, are you going to mention that we're going to have a meeting on this?
Yeah, we could talk about it. For the board and the commissioners, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee is going to meet to discuss with the HCUA the plans and stuff as they're moving forward with updating the solid waste management plan. So we have that meeting already scheduled. It won't interfere with anything with us taking action on this today, though.
Okay. Any other commissioner comments? Comments from the public? Call the roll, please.
Bertino,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio,
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 197.
Amending Resolution Number 624, adopted on November 21st, 2023, a professional services agreement with Acacia Financial Group Incorporated for financial advisory services, net increase $10,848.75.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Any comments from the public? All right, please call the roll.
Bertino,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio,
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 198.
Competitive contracts with various vendors for home care services under the Division of Welfare and State Respite Grant Programs, amount not to exceed $395,000.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Any comments from the public? All right, please call the roll.
Bertino,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio,
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 199.
Bid contract with Accent Fence Incorporated for fencing maintenance, repairs, and new installation, amount not to exceed $426,000.
Move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Any comments from the public? All right, please call the roll.
Bertino,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio,
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 200.
Amending Resolution Number 222, adopted on May 7, 2024, an interlocal agreement with the Atlantic County Improvement Authority to provide bidding and construction management services for the new generator at the Atlantic County Animal Shelter to extend the term date only, no additional cost.
Moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Anyone from the public? All right, please call the roll.
Bertino,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio,
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 201.
Interlocal agreement with the Atlantic County Improvement Authority to provide project management services for the proposed improvements at the intersection of Westcote Road, County Route 685, and Delilah Road, County Route 646 in Egg Harbor Township, amount not to exceed $5,500.
Move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Any comments from the public? Please call the roll.
Bertino,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Ruffio,
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 202.
Resolution of support for the Atlantic Cape Community College Dental Program expansion.
Moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Commissioner comments? Anyone from the public? Please call the roll.
Bertino?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Grizzly?
Yes.
Ruffio?
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Chapter 159, so I'll entertain a motion to combine and adopt resolutions 203 through 205.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Comments from the public? Please call the roll.
Bertino?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Grizzly?
Yes.
Ruffio?
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 206.
Memorandum of Agreement with the Communication Workers of America, Local 1075, Department of Family and Community Development, authorizing a formal written collective bargaining agreement incorporating the terms of the MOA for a 4-year period commencing January 1, 2024.
Moved.
Second.
We have been second. Are there any commissioner comments?
They're gonna give highlights.
Chair, is there, want to provide some information about the agreement?
I could briefly
Sure,
go over
okay.
it with you. I actually believe that the memorandum of agreement is attached to the resolution.
Yeah.
So you have the benefit of that. This is a 4-year agreement, expired in December 31st, 2023. This new agreement is for 4 years. Starting in 2024, there's an increase of 4.08. Following year is 8.29, and the last 2 years, 26 and 27, is 3.64 each year. Now, there is also some equity adjustments based on certain criteria within that agreement.
Thank you. Are there any other commissioner comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments from the
Thanks, Lynn.
public? And then, thank you. Please call the roll.
Bertino?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Grizzly?
Yes.
Ruffio?
Yes.
Days.
Yes. I'll entertain a motion to combine and adopt resolutions 207 through 208 appointments.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Any comments from the public or any of the appointees on the line? All right, Tara, please call the roll.
Bertino?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Grizzly?
Yes.
Ruffio?
Yes.
Days.
Yes. All right, I'll entertain a motion to combine and adopt resolutions 209 through 210 roadway solicitations.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments? Any comments from the public? All right, please call the roll.
Bertino?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Grizzly?
Yes.
Ruffio?
Yes.
Days.
Yes. Resolution 212.
Resolution declaring the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month, sponsored June Burns.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any commissioner comments?
Yes,
Commissioner Burns.
thank you, Chairman. So April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. As county commissioners, we have a role to play in ensuring all children have positive experiences and families have the resources that they need. This resolution shows our support for all children, families, caregivers, neighbors, educators, law officials, and our very own Atlanta County Youth Services Commission. April 30th at 10 a.m. at the Atlantic County Office Building in Atlantic City in the auditorium. We are hosting Pinwheels for Prevention program to raise awareness and advocate for the well-being of all children in Atlantic County. The pinwheel symbolizes childhood innocence and a joyful, carefree experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioner comments? It was great to see that our pinwheels are still out there spinning around.
I have more.
Mine
don't
still
worry.
doesn't spin.
So we'll fix that later. Are there any comments from the public? Please call the roll.
Bertino?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Grizzly?
Yes.
Ruffio?
Yes.
Days.
Yes. All right, that concludes the written part of the agenda. We've received copies of written communications and petitions. Are there any commissioner comments on any of those? Just want to comment at this point. I know that we did receive and we'll be receiving information from the Mayor's Association. They passed a resolution opposing Atlantic City Electric rate increases. And I believe Commissioner Risley may have something to add on that as well. But, you know, I know the county executive sent us all an email about the Mayor's Association resolution. I believe it will be eventually, when all is said and done, a bipartisan resolution that will have the signatures of 14 to 17 mayors in Atlantic County. All right, are there any reports of special committees of the board?
Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Gatto.
Last meeting, I don't think either one of us talked about our visit to the NJ or the Ag Board
No, we didn't.
legislative dinner that we went to, and I just wanted to highlight it's always a really interesting meeting. It's always great topics discussed. We have really engaged farmers here in Atlantic County who are just so passionate about farming and about greatness in that industry. And just a couple of things that they discussed, some things around the Jersey Fresh line item in the state budget. They were receiving some funding. I think it's kind of questionable. I think it got cut a little bit in the state budget, and there might even be some funding cut as a result of some of the federal things going on these days. But that's kind of still a watch area. But they are working on some campaigns with regard to the Jersey Fresh kind of marketing piece here in the state of New Jersey. Talked about the heat, stress, and labor bill, which we've discussed here at the commissioner meeting. A lot of things that we've discussed here previously are still kind of being hammered out at the state legislature. So I think we just want to keep a watch on that and continue to support where we can there. We talked about the NJ Resilient Environment and Landscape, the NJ Real Pact, which we had an extensive presentation on here. All of the regulations that were put into place via executive order by Governor Murphy. We mentioned that we did have that presentation here in October and that the video was available on our YouTube page if any of them were interested in getting the level of detail that we got. And I also passed along the resolution that we had passed back in October to some of the other elected officials that were there in the hopes that they would piggyback on that with us. And then talked a lot about the Rutgers Cooperative and what that means to them and the value of the resources that are there and their appreciation for our continued financial support of that. And certainly, you know, always looking for more if we can. But a lot of really, really great comments about that program. So did I miss anything, John?
Amy, you did one great job there.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. I always enjoy going to those meetings and dinners of the Ag Board because I learn so much. And when you listen to the different farmers talk about their product lines and their industries, you can see the frustration, you can see the issues, and you know, we stand with the farmers. We are a farming county. We stand right with them and support them in every way we can. And when you hear the details, when you get into the weeds, so to speak, of the topics, it's really quite an eye-opener. So it's certainly worth any of our time going to those meetings when we're invited. Thank you.
Just an example of the frustration that they deal with. One of the blueberry farm owners was talking about an OSHA visit that they had in the middle of peak picking season, unannounced, by a young lady who came from the Cherry Hill office, who was very surprised to find blueberries in South Jersey and had no idea that they were grown in Hamilton.
Commissioner Bertino, what are you doing?
I think I know who the agent was. Still doesn't know where she's at in South Jersey, but anyway.
So, you know, to have somebody, you know, coming to do a visit and not know things like that, you can see where their frustration is. So we definitely stand with the farmers. So you were missed, Commissioner.
I'm sure they were. They probably had some wonderful words to say about me, but all kidding aside, Commissioner, I appreciate the support. I know the Board of Agriculture here in Atlantic County always supports the support that we give them from County Executive Dennis Levison down through the commissioners.
Absolutely.
Funding's been an issue. Rutgers continues to cut their funding through the extension services. And, Rutgers College was developed as a farming college, and they've gotten more into pharmaceuticals than farming. And a lot of the opportunities for training new employees that, like we just had Rick Van Cranken retire.
Yeah.
Some of the new guys coming on, they did put somebody on, but the state looks always to consolidate, not hire people. I know at the county level, we're looking to share an entomologist that we utilize all in South Jersey. We told them it don't have to be Atlantic County, but the support this board's given them is instrumental. And there's going to be some, as we've discussed in the past with you guys, there'll be opportunities in the future where funding comes, and we may have to be the stopgap guide until we can get our legislators to pay attention to. Like I tell everybody, if you like eating, you better get used to supporting agriculture. Because it's besides it's a major industry dollar-wise to our entire economy. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate the support. They're a great group.
A great story that was told was they talked about, I guess, there was a long time person who was the pesticide, I forget what the title was. But that person, through science and expertise, helped one of the farmers who their major output was basil. And they had to stop because there was something in the soil that was killing the crop. And so they engineered, new kind of soil mix. And he's now back to growing basil as his main, output. And that was his major livelihood. And so just it was that was a success story. And again, talking about the key that the roles at Rutgers, plays for them. So, and I did write down, Mr. Chairman, it might be worth having Brian from the Rutgers Cooperative, who was there, might be worth him coming to a meeting and kind of presenting some of the things that they do and some of these stories.
All right. Sounds good.
Mr. Chair, if I
Thank
may.
Yeah, Commissioner Parker.
No, yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
From, I guess, through the Culture and Heritage Committee to the MK Betterment Project, on the 5th of this month, previously, the MK Betterment hosted 25 Stockton University students and professors that visited the site to learn about the history displayed about McKee City. It was a noteworthy exchange, the students realizing you don't need to go to a national monument, but interesting history can be in your own backyard.
100%.
The McKee City Betterment also submitted a letter of intent to the New Jersey Black Heritage Trail for a state marker. So I'll keep you posted on how that works out.
Sounds great. There's the Boiling Point Cemetery on the Republic, Galloway Township that Commissioner Ballas mentioned before. He did some work on the fence. So maybe we can have that added as well.
Absolutely.
Any other committees of the board?
Chairman,
Commissioner Risley?
just want to report briefly on our Board of School Estimates where you attended, and Mrs. Kern attended, and we looked at the budgets for the Special Services School District and ACIT. And our Superintendent Phil Gunther has assured us that the ACIT will be open in September fully, and we all look forward to the opening of that new addition there at the school. The good news, we always have good news and bad news. The bad news, the budget's up, of course, because we're going to have more kids at the school district. But the good news is that the funding that this county provides to the Special Services School District, Atlantic Cape Community College, and ACIT is at the same level it's been. So there's no increase on the county's part. And we looked at their budgets, we looked at what their total surplus was and the portion of the surplus they're using. And we all agreed we're in the right mode here, and we certainly approve of their budgets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Shared Services Committee.
Sure.
So just briefly, because I see Mayor Schenker here from Hamilton Township, we did have a meeting this past week to continue our efforts on a LEAP grant application for the Lake Lenape Lighthouse to be used as a storage facility in partnership with Hamilton Township and some things out there. So we have Tim continuing to work on that. And then we will reconvene with Terry on county-based tax assessment later this month, I think. She was away, and then I think there's a lot happening in taxes right now. So we'll be back on that this month.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah,
Commissioner Ridgely?
one last item. The Budget Committee did meet with some representatives of Atlantic City Electric. And we discussed, of course, the rate hikes. That was the topic. Their pitch to us was that the entire 17% hike that they're going to impose in June is all related to supply issues, not transmission issues. We have to purchase the electricity. Of course, Exelon and Atlantic Electric, they're not generating, they're buying electric from the grid. And the grid, PGM is the responsible entity regarding the grid in 13 different states, I think it is. So the problem is simply this: you plan to fail. If you fail to the plan, you plan to fail. And the problem we have in this state, in this region, we don't have enough generation. This green initiative has been the enemy of rates. Rates are going to be going up because we have to purchase the power somewhere. Obviously, the country needs more generation than we have. That's the problem we have. We have a problem, of course, with production of natural gas as well. We need more production. And I'm sure that we'll be proposing a resolution here on behalf of the board, and probably by the next meeting, about our, disdain for this whole thing. I've asked and received, I haven't had a chance to really delve into it, the credits, help me with the term here,
SREX?
No, not the SREX. It's regarding the societal benefits charge.
Oh.
The societal benefits charge, which I'd like to get a lot of, to dig deep in that particular topic, because one of the parts of the societal benefits charge pays for other types of energy. And I want to see how much was, quite frankly, wasted on wind power. That's what I'm after in particular. Society benefits charge covers a multitude of things. Part of it is about people that can't pay their bills. There's a number of other issues, but I'd like to get into that as well.
Right. They're looking to raise that fee as well, correct? And I believe Commissioner Bertino, I was going to say, I believe Sullivan Teresi and others have spoken about that as well.
Yeah, they've reached out to the state of course, and they passed resolutions complaining, obviously, they're not in favor of the rate hikes. And the rate hikes, as Commissioner Risley stated, if you put all your eggs in one generation basket, like we talked about when we talked about the windmills here, and we had that discussion, generation comes from wherever it comes from. What you sell to the grid is what suppliers get paid for. But if you limit access to the types of energy that you got access to purchase, because you put all your eggs in the green energy basket, or you put all your eggs in diesel or whatever, Atlantic City Electric. And I remember them telling me a few years ago, Vince, they have generators to run their jet engines. They run all day long, he says, to supply the grid, but they have to purchase to meet their demand. And we're going to continue to see these increases, unfortunately, until the state and I guess we yell a lot louder, even federally, that you're going to have to take a more of a comprehensive approach and look at different ways to generate energy. If it's smaller nuclear, if you're using gas fired, if you're using there's different opportunities to try to help mitigate that. Yeah, we'll have to see. We've warned everybody that's
Yes,
coming. I know they all call us yelling, what are you guys going to do about the rate increases? I go, we weren't the planner. I never put it, like we do in Atlantic County. We never put all our eggs in one basket, so to speak, and not have plan B. You always got to have plan B. And obviously the state doesn't have that at this point in time. So
Lovely.
I would like to follow up on that. I know Congressman Andrew issued a statement yesterday or today about wind power and how it's hurting all of us as well. So including South Jersey Gas, the gas rates. So again, follow up on the Mayor's Association resolution. This will continue to, make sure that we oppose all these increases that are coming our way. So, any other reports of special committees?
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, Commissioner Corsi.
Good. I waited long enough to speak after going behind Jim Bertino. It's always a tough act to follow. However, want to take this opportunity again to thank the Budget Committee Chairman Risley for hosting the meeting on yesterday with the Atlantic City Electric Company. I don't want to be redundant. However, I want to be very, very, very clear. I said to the stakeholders, and Chairman Risley, correct me if I'm wrong, to them that, we hide behind microphones and computers and texts, but John Q, the public don't understand when you talk about why the rates went up and why they have to do X, Y, and Z. And I thought it would be in their best interest to come to a public meeting and explain to John Q or Jew Q, the public, why it is that these increases are taking place, whether we agree with it or not. But you don't want to just leave it to elected officials where we get the phone calls, but the stakeholders reap the benefits of the millions and millions of dollars. And then folks have to pick between, do I pay for my groceries or do I try to pay the high electric bill or the gas bill, et cetera, going forward? And so I'm glad to hear that there may be a resolution coming before the board. But again, we invite the Atlantic City Electric Company, Mr. Chairman, through you, or their representative to come and make that presentation to the whole board. It was just a few of us yesterday. They made some points, grafted some of the stuff they were saying, but that's just 4 of us. But the public in general don't have a clue what the hell's going on with Atlantic City Electric or Exxon, et cetera. And so maybe we'll extend that invitation once again to Mr. Lloyd Levinson and company, or who happens to represent Atlantic City Electric, to our next meeting. And so they can come and not give an hour presentation, maybe 20 minutes presentation or so, to let the public know what's going on. So much about worrying about being, you go to the meeting and you're bombarded and folks come in and they start blasting you. But I think the public has a right to know. And they say, well, if you go to their website, you can find X, Y, and Z. Well, everybody don't go to the website because if they're not understanding what you're saying in the newspaper, some of them not going to understand what you're saying on your website. Come in person. It's like being in court, Chairman. I'd rather face my accuser face to face. And since Atlantic City Electric is the rates at 17%, and they talked about some other rates in some other companies, maybe they need to come now and back before the full board and let all of the commissioners hear exactly what's happening, and they can relay that message back to their constituents as well. And then perhaps, somebody from the public may show up, somebody from the public may not show up. But I think they owe it to the payers who are paying for this high electric. And yes, Jim Bertino, you're right. The rates are going to continue to go up. But hell, if you talk to the public and keep them informed and not blindside them, I think you get a better reaction. Nobody wants increases, but hell, at least if you tell me how you're doing it and why you're doing it, they may be more accepting to accepting it. But nobody wants to see increases. It's just like they will say, nobody wants to see changes. And so you plan the work, you fail to plan, and then you hit the public with this. It's just not good. But I think overall, the meeting itself brought out a lot of stuff that probably most of our commissioners, I can't say for sure, did not know about. But it's best if all of the commissioners could hear, and even the public get opportunity to hear what's happening behind closed doors with Atlantic City Electric. And I reserved the balance of my time, but I wanted to go back to Chairman Risley if I missed something or was I misspeaking?
No, you're correct.
Yep, Commissioner Corsi, I have no problem with that at all. I mean, initially I sent it to committee at your request. That was your idea to do that, to send it to the committee. But yeah, I totally agree. If they come, bring them out to the board and, see if they can explain what it is that's happening, what they're doing, because you're right. It's I'm going to say absolutely ridiculous. These increases after increase that they're asking for. So we'll try to make that happen sooner rather than later.
Okay, so if it's my understanding, you said maybe the next meeting or so, there'll be a resolution. If that's going to be the case, Chairman, through you, we would have that clerk would reach out to the representatives and see if they are willing to attend the meeting to have this conversation.
Definitely. And I'm not sure when the resolution will be. But obviously, like I said, sooner rather than later. The process already started. We talked about several different issues today, not just AC Electric as well. But I definitely think we need to be strong and, loud and clear. That it's just, I hate to use the 4-letter F word, fair. But it's not appropriate. You're going to raise the benefits fee because more and more people can't afford to pay their taxes, but pay their bills. But you're making the case that more and more people are able to pay their bill. So it doesn't make any sense to a lot of people out there. So I agree with you, Commissioner, that we should definitely bring them to the board as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have one more comment to make that I was trying to make when the representative there was from Beta Field. You hear all those fine plans they want to do on Beta Field, but I wanted to correct the gentleman, Mike, when he made the statement, and I will follow it up with a phone call to Mr. Gallagher tomorrow. You cannot refer to the surf stadium or the skate zone as abandoned. We have kids go there every single day playing, doing skating, and you have teams that come into the stadium and they're playing baseball. Till that place is closed, you cannot continue to go around and say it's abandoned building because it's not fair and it's not true.
Thank you, Commissioner Corsi. Brother, Mr. Bonner and Mr. Gallagher are still here, so they did hear your comments.
Well,
Thank
Gallagher
you.
can call me in the morning, and maybe I'll let him pay for my cup of coffee, but we're going to correct that with his person who's representing the company. I appreciate that, Chairman. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Corsi. Are there any other special committees? I think we're moving on. Any unfinished business?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I do have to
Commissioner Parker?
take a little more time. Funding initiative available for Atlantic County History Partnership Program. A 2025 special funding initiative is being offered to new or emerging nonprofit organizations and those that may only require a small amount of funding for history-related projects or professional development. The Special Funding Initiative Program is a pilot program offered through the Atlantic County Office of Culture and Heritage Affairs to serve as an introduction to the County History Partnership Program grant program. It's a lot of programs in there. Priority will be given to first-time applicants and those who are not currently receiving grant funding from the Office of Cultural and Heritage Affairs. Requests will be accepted on a rolling basis throughout the year with a simplified process from request to award. Guidelines and the application are available online for download.
Okay, Commissioner Parker, thank you.
Very well, sir.
Any new business? All right, hearing none. Public comment. Anyone attending in person that would like to speak now at public comment, please come to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your name and the town you reside. If you are attending virtually and would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand. We'll call upon your name and a request to unmute will be sent. Please state your name and the town you reside. You will be provided up to 3 minutes to speak.
Mercedes Bonilla, Atlantic City, New Jersey. I want to make a comment in reference to the Renaissance at Beta Field project. I wanted to kind of clarify a couple things, two things in part. I don't know when one of the representatives was speaking about zero carbon and the zero carbon footprint and lead certification, as well as any other certification for that matter. In our backyard, not too far in Washington, D.C., I want to point your attention to an Anacostia. It's called the Bridge District, which is also an opportunity zone. In our backyard, it kind of looks like not Beta Field, but it's on the water surrounding the bridge of Anacostia, which will also separate Navy Yard. 757 units in one plot of 7 that they have. Red Brick LMD is a developer. I'm going to turn your attention there because they also are speaking of luxury units. Does not include the things that Beta Field might include, but it is something to take your attention to. Second part is any type of zero carbon footprint. Most funders, they have a checkbox for zero carbon right now, and there's a new thing. So when we're looking at performers for any company or any business that might come before the county, we definitely have to make sure that we take that into consideration for any funding, because the question is, why do we mention these platinum certifications and or zero carbon footprint? And I speak to the community when I state that.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Mr. McCullough.
Thank you, and thank you for having us here today to discuss this wonderful project at Bader Field that's going to bring many, many new jobs. It's going to bring tax relief. And if you can just picture a $3 billion plus development, which is equal to all the casinos put together as far as rateable go. It's been endorsed by a county executive, as I said earlier. We've appeared before most all the labor organizations. We've appeared before the Chelsea Neighborhood Association. We appeared before the Press Editorial Board, the Philadelphia Inquirer. We have answered every question that could be brought up concerning this wonderful project that's going to be a benefit to all of Laney County. The reason I'm here again today is ask this county commission to endorse this wonderful project. It's been on the drawing board for now almost 8 years. And I'm asking you, as the county executive has, to endorse it with a resolution which will help bring this project closer to its final position that's going to help everybody. So my question is, could I have a resolution to appropriately support the renaissance of Bader Field? Thank you.
Yeah, Sonny, it's my goal to send,
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, it's my goal as often as possible to send any resolution request, whether it's, commissioner comes from anyone else, to a committee to do the due diligence and the homework. So I have no problem asking the, the Economic Development and Tourism Committee to take a look at this and potentially come up with a resolution of support.
Absolutely.
But I would like them to look at it first.
Can't ask any more than that, Mr. Chairman.
Appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Right.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who'd like to speak? Anyone online? All right, I'll entertain a motion to close public comment.
Move.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any comments for the good of the order? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Captain.
Meeting's adjourned.